Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So today this video is about how Dushtanas are related to the various problems that we encounter in our lives. Okay. And the Dushtanas, all the primary problems in life, they will come either from the Dushtanas or the Dushtana lords. Okay. And in Vedic astrology, we know that the Kalpurush Kundali, or the KPC as they call it, it is allocated into 12 rashis or signs. And in each sign of the zodiac, every house has some importance in life. Okay, so the signs out of the 12 signs, they are divided into three sectors. From the first to the fourth is the growth that we get from ourselves. From the fifth to the eighth is the growth that we get from others. And from the ninth to the 12th is the growth that we get from the universe as such. Okay, so each and every house is related to the to the four purusharthas, or the aims of life according to Hindu theology, that is dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Okay, and based on the arrangement of the planets, and in whichever signs they are placed, and whichever aspects they have, you can actually make an understanding or have an understanding as to how the individual is sophisticated, and for what the soul is here to accomplish in this present avatar. Okay, so the dharma houses are the first, fifth, and the ninth houses are the dharma houses. The artha houses are the second, sixth, and the 10th house. Okay, kama, of course, is the third, seventh, and 11th house, and moksha is the is the fourth, eighth, and the 12th. Okay, and based on the meanings of these houses, the goals, they will vary. Okay, and the planets in different houses, if you have planets in the dharma houses, that means you're more accomplished, and you'll be more attuned to following your own path or creating the path for others to follow. Okay, and similarly, if you have more planets in the moksha houses, of course, then it means you're more towards liberation, or moksha as they call it, the freedom from birth and death. Okay, so out of these houses, okay, the sixth, eighth, and the 12th houses are contemplated as dushtanas. Okay, and the dharma houses, dushtanas will never fall in the dharma trine. That means the first, the fifth, and the ninth house, they are never considered to be dushtanas. Dushtanas will always belong to the other houses. Okay, so this is indicative of the fact that if you try to follow your own path, you'll never get into trouble. Okay, you get into trouble only when you try to emulate someone else or something else. And this is what Krishna confirms in the Bhagavad Gita when he says that the path of others is fearful. It's best to follow your own dharma rather than following the dharma of others. Okay, so problems, they really come from the Artha Trikona, which includes the sixth house, and the Kama Trikona. You don't see problems coming from the Kama Trikona as such. Okay, because desires don't really lead to problems, but your pursuit of making money leads to problems, which of course is one of the discussions that is going to be one of the focal points of today's discussion. And then when you go for moksha, you see the moksha trikona comprises of two dusthana houses, the 8th house and the 12th house. Okay, so I'll elaborate on whatever I have spoken. So as we know, the 6th, 8th, and the 12th houses, they are regarded as dushtanas in astrology, and these are the areas from where the problems will come. Okay, and the dushtanas, they will constantly attack the kendra houses. Okay, 1, 4, 7, and 10, these are the kendra houses. The dushtanas, they will constantly attack the kendras. You see the 7th house, it is sandwiched between the 6th house and the 8th house. So that is why relationships are so difficult. It's easy to get into a relationship, but it's very difficult to maintain a relationship. And most of the problems, most of the consultations that I do, people mostly come with relationship problems, so that which plague them, and mind you, a bad relationship can give you cancer faster than cigarettes. Okay. So these are the points we need to consider while analyzing the Dushtanas. Okay. Now, the sixth house is actually where your physical problems come from. Okay. This is where you will encounter most challenges of health and vitality. For example, death, diseases, confrontations, opponents, court trials, litigations, and so on. And this is the house of service. Okay. So, you have to serve, right? You have to serve in order to get money. And in this house, you will you'll be comfortable with the significations or the karakatwas of this house with the passage of time, and that is the reason this house is also known as an upachaya house. Okay. And why this house is the house of enemies? Because not everyone can be served by you. You cannot serve everyone, you cannot attend to everyone. And if you don't serve others, for whatever reason, they can become your enemies, right? And we know that the second house in astrology is always sustaining the previous house, right? The second house is the house of food. So we know that the fifth house is the house of children, and in the sixth house you are actually serving your children, you're looking after your children, and that can be a difficult job. Anyone who has a baby in the house would know what I'm talking about, right? But then as human beings, we love our children, we love our kids extensively. And if you love other people like you're loving your kids, then you'll not have any opponent. So this is one of the secrets of the sixth house. Okay. So in a sense, what happens is sixth house becomes a house of enemies when you distinguish between your loved ones and the people you don't love. Okay. So if you serve everyone you meet in an equal way, if you look at everyone you meet through an equal eye, then you know the sixth house will stop giving you problems. Okay. So you evolve as you understand that the way, or the only way, to deal with the sixth house energy is to glance everyone with one sight and fulfill your responsibility of service. Okay. And when you do that, you'll hardly create opponents in your life. Okay. And if there is any planet in the sixth house, that planet will show where this service is needed. For example, say you have Jupiter in the sixth house, then you need to serve people in in temples, in religious institutions, your gurus as such, your teachers as such. And suppose the seventh lord is coming to the sixth house, then what it means is the person will find it difficult to serve the partner. Okay. Say a man has the seventh lord in the sixth house, it means that the person will never attend to his wife, and in that way the wife can actually get converted into an adversary. Okay. So you have to understand that the planet which is present in the sixth house, you have to serve the people represented by those planets. Okay. You have to defocus from yourself, and you need to focus on the other people. And once you do that, your sixth house starts giving you better results. All right. Now, if you look at the eighth house, okay, so this is the most mysterious house. Okay, eighth house is the house of uncertainties. It is the place where you are very insecure, very susceptible, right? And funnily, this house is the second to the seventh house. So it means the end of a relationship, the end of a marriage. Okay. So this is the house of survival, because, it'll bring forth all the difficult things of your existence. This is the house where you have no control. This is the house where no one has any supervision of existence. It indicates all kinds of terrible losses, losses of loved ones, slaughtering, death, rebirth, and so on. Okay. So eighth house is that evolutionary system of the self where you don't have any say. And because you don't have any say related to the matters of the eighth house, you need to relinquish those matters right at that moment, so that you can proceed further in life. You have to give up the things related to the eighth house. Okay, because you have no control over it. And the eighth house is just the 12th of ninth house. So this is also the house of adharma. So what this means is, if you don't follow your dharma, if you don't follow your calling, the eighth house will always give you problems. Okay, all the problems of uncertainty, all the problems of insecurity, all the problems where you are very susceptible, they come forth because of people not following their dharma. And dharma does not mean religion. Okay, dharma does not mean religion. Dharma means doing what you are good at. Your greatest calling is your dharma. Okay, what is the dharma of sugar? To bring sweetness. So your dharma is to be of service. And the problems of the eighth house will end only when you are in service. So the service is a very important concept here. And don't take it on my face value just because I am saying it to you. You look at Mrityunjaya Shiva, you always hold this mudra. This is the Muruga mudra, the deer mudra. And this is known as the mudra of service. Okay. And this is a secret that I wanted to share with you. Every time you have problems with the eighth house, hold this mudra with both hands and ask yourself, how can I serve more? And as you find the answer, surprisingly, you will find that the problems of eighth house will dissipate. It happened with me. I have dissipated my eighth house problems with the idea of serving others. And I'm sure it'll happen to you because it has happened to all the people whom I've recommended this mudra as a remedy. Hold this mudra for 5 minutes every day if you feel that you are being bothered by the eighth house problems. Okay? So it's the house that you don't have any control of, but you can solve this, this event of no control by being of service, by following your own dharma. And you must serve because that is what Shiva advises each one of us. Otherwise, you will be served as food, right? You'll be served as food once you die. You'll either be burnt or you'll be buried. And then the microorganisms and the insects and everything will feed on you, right? So be of service or you'll be served as food. Now comes the 12th house. Again, this is not really Parashara does not call it a Dushtana. The 12th house is actually pretty much neutral. Okay, and you see this house is in the Kalpurish chart, this house is ruled by Jupiter because 12th house, the original 12th house belongs to Pisces. And this relates, this connects us to the other realm. This house connects us to the other realm. Okay, and this 12th house always comes after the 11th house. And what is the 11th house? It is known as Trishadhaya, the highest evil house. And this also, the 11th house also represents your biggest intention to do something for yourself. Okay. But what after you attain your name, after you have attained all the fame, after you have attained all the wealth, you need to let go of all this because the 12th house also sustains the 11th house, being second from the 11th house. But then this is not easy. Everyone expects moksha, right? But then you get moksha only when all the aspects which you have an illusion that they belong to you, they are taken away from you. But what happens? As common people, we feel pretty outraged when the things that we like are taken away from us. And remember, you cannot be spiritual or you cannot become spiritual. The spark of spirituality is not going to light a fire in you if you have easy times. And the 12th house, being the house of spirituality, being one of the houses of moksha apart from the 8th house, it signifies the things that are taken away from you, that will be taken away from you to make you more spiritual. What if you have a planet in the 12th house? In that case, you need to give up the significations of the house that is ruled by the planet, not that of the planet itself. Okay, say your second lord is in the 12th house. In that case, if you want spirituality, if you want to be spiritual, to be more spiritual, you have to become light in your pocket, because the second house is the house of your money. Okay. So this act of forfeiting, which comes with any planet in the 12th house, is something very traumatic. People get traumatized by it. If it's a good planet, it'll be an easy task. If it is a bad planet, then of course this is going to be difficult. Okay, so it's better that you try to understand which planet is in the 12th house, if you have a planet in the 12th house as such, and then try to give up a few of the things related to that planet on the day ruled by that planet. That will not only minimize your losses, it will also minimize your sadness. Okay, so in conclusion, I can say that what we need to understand is that all of these dushtanas will provide some discomfort in your life. And that discomfort is provided for the sake of your higher evolution. Dushtanas will take something away from your existence. Say the sixth lord coming to the first house, it means the person has to put up with bad health. The person will not be 100% healthy, because the first house relates to the self, the biological body. Okay. And when the sixth house comes to the first house, instead of being sad that, I don't have 100% fit body, try to put more attention to the fact that this disease is giving you more time for self introspection, and that self introspection will lead to self development. Okay, so I had this person who had the sixth lord in the first house coming for a consultation, and he told me that, I'm very limited, my movement is very limited. I told him that because you have limited movement, try to spend your time in self contemplation, in self introspection, and that is going to be the step of your evolution. And life is actually an evolutionary procedure. So these dushtanas, they will help you to evolve and give rise to a more matured version of yourself over a given time period. If there are no planets in the dushtanas, see where the lord of the dushtanas is placed in the natal chart. And wherever this lord is placed, it means that you will need to develop yourself in that region of life so that you can integrate into this cosmos at the time of your leaving. Okay, so it's not all bad, it's not all gloom and doom when it comes to the dushtanas. This is something that I wanted to share with all of you. Please let me know if you agree with this, and if you have any doubt, of course, I welcome you all to leave your feedback in the comment section. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel, like the content, share it with your friends and family if you find it useful. And please reach out at the number given in the description box if you want a consultation regarding your chart. Namaste. I'll see you soon in yet another video. Om Guruve Namaha.